We bought this farm in 2013. It was a pretty rundown piece of junk. It's less so now, but it's a work in progress. So we're still taking on this midlife challenge of, can you take a rundown old farm and make it into a production farm? And the answer is yes, you can. You just shovel a lot of money into it. But we finally, with some help from some various grants we've been able to secure to help shore up these buildings. And now we got a new one from NRCS. No, yes, it's NRCS EQIP grant. It's helping us keep this thing moving and growing. And so we don't grow any row crops per se, but we have a pretty mature orchard here. So we sell apples. There's a lot of U-pick and cider pressers that come here to grab some of this stuff. We have egg-laying chickens. We raise lots and lots of honeybees, which I'll tell you about more in a minute. We do pigs. We currently have, you'll see a small number of pigs here, which are our breeders, but we have 40 pigs on the ground in the field right now at Bell's. And then I also have a custom hay baling operation we run around the area. So we do about 125 acres of hay for other private landowners. And we also have cow. We have 4 Highland cows, but they are part of our hospitality division, not our protein division. So they are here just for looks. My previous life, I was a honeybee scientist for a while, and then was down in Arizona and got tired of being that hot. But then we came up here, and so bees have been a part of my life for 25 years, and so I thought it was going to be mostly a bee operation I was doing here, but it turned out to be bees and a whole lot more. We love pigs. So we've been running pigs here for a while. What we're now doing, because our pig operation started as a fun little, let's have 4 pigs and see how it goes. Then we had 8, then we had 10, then we had 12, and then 15, and we got bigger and bigger and bigger. We ended up partnering with Bell's Farm a couple years ago, so we could kind of bring our pig knowledge and gear to their larger acreage, and we've been doing it together with them for a couple of years, and it's just, now we have 40 pigs on the ground there now, and 30 already in the freezer over there, and this is our breeding stock. I'm not a big fan of the farrowing crates. We're going to try to do more like nest boxes, and so you can see this area over here has these little cleats where divider boards can be dropped in here to like keep a sow in here in each of those 4 areas, and I can remove a board to let her out but leave the young piglets in for a while, and then we can slowly get them out of here, and then once they've had 8 weeks or so, we can roll them out to pasture at Bell's. I move these guys on a regular basis so it doesn't just become a giant mess here, right? So you can kind of see where they've been. I just moved them up to this area, and then I take this cultivator here, this little cultivator that goes behind my little UTV. After I move pigs, I can run that around just to kind of mess up the soil where they've been compacting it down, and then I reseed. This is if you guys do any kind of rotational stuff with animals and you're doing netting like this. This is just a solar-powered energizer for hot wire. But with this netting and stuff, it is a little bit tricky to figure out how you can have 2 separate pens and have them both electrified on one signal, because you don't want to have splits in your electric fence. You want it to be one continuous line that doesn't connect in a loop. So this is a heritage barn, one of what they call a contributing structure to Evie's landing. So one of the nice things about that is that allowed us to get some grant money to help shore it up. And if you look up, you can see this hay loft, is fully rebuilt. So the one that was here was quite sketchy, and every time we loaded it with hay, it was looking like an old mare, just getting real sway-backed, and you'd punch through the floor every once in a while. And we were able to get a grant to redo the hay loft. Down below, you saw there's just sort of like a little enclosure there, a loafing shed for the cows, and right off of that is where we've just secured this EQIP grant to help develop what's called a heavy use protected area and a manure storage facility. It's just to help control manure runoff into Penn Cove, basically.
The Environmental Quality Incentives Program.
Okay.
So this is one of our apiaries. This one had done well and then all of a sudden got wiped out. So the reason they're all short boxes, or most of them, is because they are splits. I mean, I've been keeping bees for 25 years. Whidbey is the hardest place I've kept bees. The biggest problem bees have is this pest called a varroa mite. So I think really it's just this, it's a really harsh, wet climate here, and if they're not like hermetically sealed, which they are not, they can get in there and kind of do a lot of damage. We keep our honey separated by apiary, and then we send a pooled sample from each apiary to a lab that extracts the pollen that's in that honey and identifies it down to plant family, and it sort of represents a proxy for the flowers that were worked by those bees, and then we put that on the label. But it changes every year, and so it tastes different every year, and the 3 yards taste different from one another, even though they're all like 5 miles apart. Is that people want that connection to ag and to farming and where their food comes from, and giant corporate farms do not want people tromping around their properties, right? So even though we're small, we're still a farm, and so we welcome that connection to the public.